my brain is telling me, you're a cheater. You're a cheater. You're a cheater. Tell him you cheated. Tell him you cheated. You're a cheater. And I literally thought that I was losing my shit. And it makes me cry because my entire life I have dealt with the worst panic, the worst anxiety, and I have done everything in my power to make it go away. I was wrong. After all these years, I was wrong. I've been out here pushing and pushing more fruits, more vegetables, more fruits, more vegetables. I have been the fruit and vegetable pusher, and I was wrong. I had to do this video because my life has significantly changed in the last 3 weeks, and I'm still shocked at what has taken place. A little bit of a backstory. If you're new here, I'm Sierra. I was born with sickle cell disease type SS. I no longer have it. I was cured with a bone marrow transplant. When I started the Sister Friend website, it was in hopes of sharing all my health and wellness tips that I have learned throughout the years. I mean, my mom, if you've ever had a chance to read my bio, my mom, when I got into trouble as a little girl, my mom would give me this book, this health book, and she told me, you have to type out every single page as punishment. Little did she know I would become completely 100% obsessed with learning about all those health and wellness tips. So at like 15 years old, when I'm in high school, I'm learning about the best cures for gout and arthritis and inflammation and all of these different things, but from a vegetable and herbal standpoint of the things that could remedy those problems. When I was a little girl, when I was born with sickle cell, I always thought that my panic attacks and anxiety were a symptom of growing up with a chronic disease that had me in and out of the hospital all the time. I thought that the anxiety and the panic, I'm making sourdough bread. I forgot to turn the microwave off. That the panic and the anxiety was a symptom of being afraid that I was going to die from sickle cell. But in the last 3 weeks, I am pretty sure that I have figured out the culprit. You guys, anybody who knows me knows that I am completely 100% obsessed with herbs, with green. I have listened to YouTubers, to talks, to books, and it has always led me to eat more green. Whenever I have struggled with anxiety and depression, I beat myself up and I say things like, okay, I'm just not having enough green juice. I'm not eating enough vegetables. And it's kind of a running joke in my family that no one eats more fruits and vegetables than me. But I would go have more green juice, more fruits, more vegetables. And the more I've eaten these fruits and vegetables, the more anxiety I have had. So about 2 weeks ago, my friend Kim sends me this text message. Her and I are having this deep conversation about hormone imbalance. And the text reads, hey girl, what do you think about the carnivore diet? Kim has known me for at least 5 years. So when she sends me this text about, hey, what do you think about the carnivore diet? I'm like, do you even know me at all? And she knows that I am a huge proponent of green. Carnivore diet? Who would do such a thing? I mean, I have always been a huge proponent of green juice, of grass, of lemon balm, of ashwagandha, maca powder, beets, oranges, apples, lemons, limes, horseradish, radish, broccoli, asparagus. So when she says carnivore diet, I'm thinking, that sounds completely absurd. I was like, okay, I don't know why she asked me about this. I was like, girl, that's absurd. Who would eat meat and animal products all the time? There's no way I'm gonna say, yeah, this is a great idea. I mean, I don't even know what the carnivore diet was 3 weeks ago. I am a huge proponent of vegetables and fruits. Little did she know that for the last 6 months, my husband has been wondering who the hell I am. Every single month at some point for the last 6 to 7 months, I tell him, I need you to get me a hamburger. I have these crazy cravings for a hamburger or a steak. And it just so happened about 3 or 4 days after getting my friend Kim's text message, my brain was screaming at me for a hamburger or a steak. But I was here at home, and of course I was thinking to myself, no, Sierra, you need to have some discipline. You need to not go get a hamburger or a steak, and you need to stay home and eat the lentils that you have already prepared. So that's what I did. I stayed home and I ate my dal, my lentil recipe. The cravings kept going. It was like I couldn't think of anything else except for a hamburger or a steak. I was trying to stay busy around the house. I had eaten. I'm like, why is my brain yelling at me to eat meat? Finally, one day, we have a farm stand that is pretty local to our house. It's probably less than a mile away. I was like, you know what? I don't have time to go to the grocery store. I was gonna go to Whole Foods or Sprouts to get a hamburger or a steak or something. But I said, you know what? I'm just gonna stop at the farm stand that's pretty local to my house. They end up having some local bison. I get the bison. I felt satiated. And while I was eating it, I decided to do some research on the carnivore diet. But as I'm researching the carnivore diet, I stumble upon a video by Dr. Berg, and it is called like the benefits of beef liver, which I will link it in the description box. And the testimonials and the things that people are talking about are profound. I end up calling my local farmer. I call him and I say, hey, do you have beef liver? And I know I'm going to regret once this video releases, because if so many people see this video, I'm going to regret it, because the price of beef liver is going to go up. So I ask him, I say, do you have beef liver? He's like, yeah, I always have beef liver. It is not a bestseller by any means. I said, okay, I need you to save me some beef liver for Saturday. I called him on Wednesday. I said, save me some beef liver for Saturday. He says, okay, I got you. So Saturday, I go get beef liver. My husband's back in town. And I have to tell you guys, and it makes me cry, because my entire life I have dealt with the worst panic, the worst anxiety, and I have done everything in my power to make it go away. I've meditated, I've cut out social media, I don't watch the news. It's actually pretty embarrassing when people ask. My husband's like, she doesn't know anything. I don't watch the news. I do everything that I can to keep my nervous system calm. And no matter what I do, no matter how much ashwagandha I take, no matter how much magnesium I take, magnesium biglycinate, nothing has calmed me down. I mean, you guys, I gotta show you my purse. Hold. I went to go get my purse for you. I have to show you. I don't even leave the house without tinctures of anti-anxiety things. I don't have the anxiety pills in here. I usually do. But lately, I've got my lemon balm by Mary Ruth. I've got valerian to calm the nervous system. I've got CBD oil, and I've got B complex. I don't even leave the house without being on guard in preparation for a panic attack or anxiety. I have struggled so much. I have gone to acupuncture to be like, why is my nervous system, why am I always feeling this anxiousness? I have had so many nights where my husband, I mean, it has been incredibly hard on my marriage to constantly tell him I feel like I'm dying. And you guys look at me. Do I look like I'm dying? I even have to look at myself in the mirror and say, Sierra, you're safe. There's nothing wrong with you. But I have had so many conversations with him telling him, I feel like I'm dying. I don't know what's wrong with me. We have had so many trips to the emergency room because I have thought that something was wrong with me. I've dealt with health anxiety because of how I grew up. But there has been this just innate thing inside of me that has told me, like, something's wrong with you. You're dying. And every time I felt that message, I would go juice more green juice. Go have more fruits, more vegetables, to be like, okay, yes, I'm drinking and I'm eating high vibrational foods. And it never worked. Nothing was ever working. So the acupuncture was never sustaining me. The herbs have never sustained me. Nothing has sustained me. And I go to the farmer's market on like almost 3 weeks ago, and I get this liver. I get beef liver from the farmer. I come home. I'm going to show you guys the recipe. I come home. I cook this beef liver. I eat it. And at this point, from Wednesday to Saturday, I was only eating like some meat. I was increasing my meat products. I had went back to the farm stand, gotten another bison. I increased my eggs. My husband and I had a sirloin steak and bison. So I had been eating a lot of meat. So this is like day 3 or 4 of meat products. So that Saturday, we get the beef liver. I eat 1 ounce of it. 1 ounce of beef liver. And you guys, I had the most intense sense of euphoric feelings that I have ever had in my entire life. I mean, I was dancing around the house. I was so happy. It was like a veil lifted over me. And it was like the intrusive thought stopped. That was another symptom that I have had for especially within the last 3 years. Back in November, I went to Los Angeles, and it was kind of funny because my mom and my best friends were like, does your husband ever stop calling you? Because we sit on the phone all the time together. If he's at work and I'm here at the house doing homemaking things or anything like that, if he's at his desk, we might just have the phone on FaceTime while we're both doing our work. So when I was in LA and I wasn't with him for 2 weeks, we were on the phone constantly. So when he picked me up from the airport, we went straight to dinner. And when we were sitting at dinner, and I was basically talking to my husband the whole time. Like, he knew where I was at every moment of the day. So we're sitting at the dinner table, and the whole time that we're sitting at the dinner table, my brain is telling me, you're a cheater. You're a cheater. You're a cheater. Tell him you cheated. Tell him you cheated. You're a cheater. And I literally thought that I was losing my shit. Excuse my French. It was so intense, the intrusive thoughts. It was so intense in my mind that I had to tell him. And I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to be like, babe, like, you know, my brain right now is saying that I'm a cheater and that I need to confess to you that I cheated on you. And it was the most bizarre thing. And he was so kind. And I've had many. That's just one intrusive thought that I've had. But I have had so many intrusive thoughts where I thought I was literally losing my mind. And it is really scary when you feel like you can't control your brain. When you feel like, oh my gosh, like people who are mentally ill are really ill, because I am the picture of somebody with perfect health. And I emailed my gynecologist. I said, hey, let's check on my estrogen, like what's going on with that? And everything was fine. So I had crazy intrusive thoughts, and I have had sleepless nights. My husband will tell you, I barely sleep in the night. I'm always up, like never getting a full night's rest, always like doing more and more and more to try to make myself feel better. And so I eat this beef liver on Saturday, 3 weeks ago, and it was like the veil had lifted. It was like the ruminating thoughts about death went away. It's like every single day, my husband will tell you guys, I was always fixated on something bad happening or death. And I would be like, how come I'm the only one thinking about death? Like, how come nobody else is thinking about it? Because I'm thinking about it all the time. And I thought that I was in therapy. I was talking to my therapist. What's wrong? Like, why I'm deep diving into my childhood, like into sickle cell, into my bone marrow transplant. My transplant was 9 years ago. And I'm like, why are we still talking about this? Like, I'm fine. And so I eat this beef liver, and I have 5 days. I counted 5 days of nothing but animal products. And I was like a new person. Literally, like, in the kitchen, like, hi babe, I love you. Life is so good. I've never felt this happy. And it was the most amazing experience of my life. So by the 5th day, I had only been eating animal products. I was feeling so happy. Happier than, I told the woman at the ER, we'll get to that. I told her I had been happy in those 5 days than I have ever been in my entire life. even happier than my wedding day. That's how much of a veil lifted. So by the 5th day, I was feeling really good. I was getting ready for bed one night. My husband and I were chatting, and all of a sudden, I felt like my heart was beating crazy fast. It was going about 115 to 125 beats per minute. It was racing. And I was like, hey babe, get me some magnesium, because I had been on this high. Even on that last day, I had been on such a high and I didn't know what was wrong. And he was like, okay. So he got me some magnesium. I drank it. That didn't help. I was like, okay, I don't know what's wrong. I sat up, he fell asleep. I sat up till 3 o'clock in the morning, not knowing why my heart was going so fast. I ended up in the ER and they said, hey, like, you're low on potassium. So if you try the carnivore diet, please know that you gotta be up on your electrolytes, which I didn't know, but I'm not on the carnivore diet. But if that is something you do, please make sure that you drink plenty of electrolytes. I told the woman in the ER, I was like, am I okay? I felt like I was dying. I thought I was having a heart attack. She's like, no, your potassium is low. On carnivore, or anytime you are in ketosis, you need to make sure you're drinking plenty of electrolytes. Beef liver, organ meat, is the way, the truth, and the light. And I have always been a huge proponent of fruits and veggies, but I have to tell you guys, organ meat, it has been 3 weeks and I have been having 1 ounce of beef liver every single day. I'm probably going to slow down on that and do a ½ ounce every day, because you don't want to get iron overload. But beef liver has literally saved my life. Organ meat has. My husband and I want to get into having more heart and tongue. You know, back in the day, our ancestors, they ate the entire cow, nose to tail. And similar to juicing, you know, when you juice a piece of fruit, you're extracting the fiber out of the fruit. So your body's not getting that full nutritional value of that apple or that orange that you're eating. And that is why when you juice fruit, your blood sugar spikes. So I've stopped juicing fruit. I used to tell you guys, juice fruit, don't juice fruit. I feel like so much bad advice. But I can admit I was wrong. So similarly, when you're only eating a ribeye steak, or when you're only eating ground beef, you're not getting the full complex of all the enzymes and minerals that your body needs in totality. So it's not enough to just be like, I'm gonna just eat ribeye steaks, or I'm just going to eat this. It's really important to eat all of the portions of that whole animal. And so I am only 3 weeks into my journey. I was going to deep dive and be like, oh, I'm only going to have carnivore, but I'm not going to do that. The key to longevity is not being extreme and only eating this and only eating that. I mean, I reference my neighbors. Anytime I need to be reeled back into reality, I reference my neighbors all the time. They are 70 years old and they can't afford high quality organic food, and they buy a lot of their food from Aldi's or Walmart or Kroger's or Food Lion in our place. In some states, Food for Less. Basically lower end grocery stores that don't maybe have all of those organic options. They don't eat organic. Their kids don't eat organic. So the thing is that I'm learning that God's grace is sufficient. It's not about being like, I'm gonna just do this one thing, because yes, fruits and vegetables, herbs, all of these things can help us, but ultimately you have to have love, you have to garden, you have to be happy, you have to get plenty of rest and all of those other good things that add to longevity. But I just wanted to tell you guys that if you are struggling with anxiety and depression, please, please, please look up beef liver organ meat. Also, I would love for you to look up the mutation MTHFR. I have officially diagnosed myself, and I am most certainly that is what I have, is MTHFR. But basically, MTHFR is when your body cannot convert folic acid into folate. Folate is the natural version of folic acid. Folic acid is vitamin B9. But it is naturally folate. So when you have MTHFR, that conversion does not happen, which means that you can have anxiety and depression. You can have crazy inflammation. Another thing, ever since I've started the beef liver, my knee pain, I've had knee surgery. I have had problems with my joints since my bone marrow transplant from the excessive chemotherapy, from the excessive steroids. I'm not 100% pain free, but you guys, for the first time in like 3 weeks, my pain is so much less. And I'm trying not to get emotional because like I called my husband. I called my husband about a month ago when he was on military duty, and I said, babe, I'm one of those people that's going to have to be on antidepressants. Like, I've exhausted everything. I've done everything in my absolute power to help myself. I don't know what else to do. Maybe antidepressants, I have to be on them like everybody else. But I don't need antidepressants because your body, when it's having symptoms, when it's having anxiety, depression, pain, inflammation, there's just something missing. Don't let these doctors, no shame to anybody out there who is on antidepressants, because listen, sometimes you need it. But get your estrogen checked. Get your progesterone checked. Join a Facebook group. Look for the answers. Be your own advocate. I have a video here on my channel about being your own advocate. Find the answers, because your body is not just doing something because it's just doing it. It's telling you something. It's giving you clues. Hey, I don't like grains. Hey, I don't like gluten. Hey, you're deficient in vitamin B6 or vitamin B12, which further leads me to beef liver. If you have MTHFR, that means that you're probably very low on serotonin. You're probably low on dopamine. You're probably low on melatonin, which is why you're not sleeping through the night. I am now sleeping pretty much through the night. I go to bed around 9. I'm still waking up at like 4, but I am still getting a good 6 hours of unbroken sleep, whereas before it was every 2 to 3 hours of like, is it morning? Is it morning? Is it morning? So please know that if you have MTHFR, that means that your body is not converting folic acid into folate. That means that you could be having, you're struggling to detoxify in your liver. Dr. Berg has a beautiful video that I will put in the description box about MTHFR, which a lot of people have it. So you probably do, especially if you've done everything that you can for your mental health in terms of turning off the news, eating a healthy, balanced diet, working out. If even working out is not keeping you afloat, your body's just talking to you. But please try organ meat. Try grass-fed cow, because it works. It works. And I will have it for forever. The last thing I'll say is that my husband and I are constantly battling the temperature in our house. It's the middle of summer, and I'll be like, well, my hands are cold, my feet are cold. That's an iron deficiency. A lot of people are iron deficient. Instead of taking capsules, food is the best way to get vitamins and minerals into your body. A lot of these capsules, they're not bioavailable. Your body's not really getting the full nutrient of it. But I just have to tell you guys, it's been 3 weeks and I have not taken CBD oil. I have not taken ashwagandha. I have not taken ginkgo biloba. I have not taken any of my friend was telling me, because we're both on a fertility journey, there's that too. I'm going to have to break this video up into multiple parts because there's so many moving parts. But my friend was talking to me about parasites. So I even ordered a $100 parasite cleanse from Mrs. Rogers Hood. And I was like, I'm going to get rid of the parasites. The parasites are causing the anxiety, depression. There's nothing that I have not done to remedy this. And I don't even know if I'm going to do the parasite cleanse now. Uh-huh. Yeah. What are you doing?
About a month ago, you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
There was a big guy. I took him for a ride. Does he live in here?
No.
Okay, I'm sorry. God bless you. I'm sorry.
guys, a woman just acted like she was gonna walk in my house. I was like, yes, can I help you? That was scary. Anyway, she was like turning the knob. I'm like, don't let yourself in my house. That was scary. The mean version of me is not very mean, huh? What are you doing? I know it sounded really mousy. Anyway, a parasite cleanse. You probably don't need it. You just need beef liver. I will do another video, but please get yourself some organ meat. You need it. Everyone who is on the fertility journey is always saying that you need CoQ10. You need vitamin D plus vitamin K. Please keep in mind, if you take vitamin D, it does not work without vitamin K. And you also want to make sure you take that with fat. But everyone always says CoQ10, vitamin D, vitamin K. You need plenty of folic acid, which I disagree. You need folate. Guys, guess what food is most nutritious, that has the most CoQ10 you can get, that has the most vitamin D, K2, well, vitamin D plus K2, eggs. Eggs, lots and lots of eggs. But you want CoQ10, organ meat, heart, liver, it's all there. So instead of going out and spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars like me, try organ meat. And please tell me your experience, because it works. Okay, I promise the last thing I'll add to this that I forgot to tell you guys was the mental clarity that I've had, especially in that first 5 days, was like the brain fog lifted. I have had so many days where I'm walking around the house and I'm like, what am I doing? Just like lost in the cloudiness of what's going on. It was like the brain fog has lifted. I cannot tell you guys, in the last 3 weeks, I have been so productive. I have had more clarity, more focus. And this is coming from a person who's usually like, let me have a sip of green tea or my ginkgo. So the mental clarity, the focus, I read on many of the mom blogs that what they do for their children is they grind up the beef liver and put it in their ground beef for their kids' hamburgers or tacos. So if your kid's not going to eat the liver by itself, and maybe your child has been diagnosed with ADHD or ADD, they have a hard time focusing, it would be worth it to just see if it works. From one of the moms that I met at the gym, she shared with me her kid's journey, and I would be so curious. She told me that it's an ongoing thing. You take that medication on a day-to-day basis. So I would be curious, if you didn't take the medication, what it would look like for a kid who struggles to stay focused or stay in their seat. I don't even want to go on the diatribe about diagnoses of ADHD and all that kind of stuff, but I will say that I think that a lot of our ailments come from deficiencies, and I stand by that. So if you're somebody that has struggled with clarity, with focus, sitting down, brain fog, being all over the place, these are all signs of deficiencies. Like I said, our body is always talking to us, and it's just a matter of finding what that cure can be for us individually. And beef liver is also known as nature's multivitamin. So many people who take beef liver don't even take a multivitamin, because beef liver is so nutrient dense and has many of the daily vitamins and minerals needed for our bodies. Here's the thing. We want to create our own diet, and we want to be like, I'm different than the rest. I took so much pride in saying, I don't eat meat. I'm not a big meat eater. But the thing is that we can't just do whatever we want to do. We can't. Our bodies have evolutionized from our ancestors. Our ancestors ate the whole thing. They were hunters and gatherers. So if they ate the whole thing, it's like we can't be born and then all of a sudden say, well, I'm just going to divert from that and not see maybe a difference in how we are feeling. So anyway, I could go on and on, but beef liver heals. I'm not even exaggerating. All right, the video got way too long, so I am going to do a separate video on how I make my liver. See you in the next one.